Tonight, the busiest day yet for holiday travel, crowded airports, and the new warning as Americans return home.
We might see a surge superimposed upon that surge.
Plus the new restrictions affecting millions. Joe Biden's emergency trip to the doctor after twisting his ankle, and some history made today announcing an all-female team to run White House communications. Reversing course, the biggest school system in the country switches back to in-person learning for elementary schools, but not older students. The science behind the change. Race for a vaccine, the key vote at the CDC this week. Who gets the vaccine first? The debate over whether nursing home residents should be in the first wave. Cyber Monday starts just hours from now. Where to find the best deals online, and the new way companies plan to ship their products to you. And why some police officers are taking a break from busting criminals to bust some moves. It's all about making connections.
This is NBC Nightly News with Kate Snow.
Good evening. On the busiest travel day we've seen in 9 months ever since the pandemic took hold. And while top officials understood the impulse to see family, they spent today issuing grave public warnings about what could happen next, urging anyone who did travel to stay away from others or risk spreading the virus further and straining the ability of hospitals to find enough staff to care for the sick. We'll get to vaccine news and much more, but let's begin with Blaine Alexander at Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson Airport.
Tonight, millions of Americans are taking to the skies and the streets, headed home after Thanksgiving travel, something health officials pleaded with the public not to do. Now, those same experts say because of that travel, we are likely headed into the worst phase of the pandemic.
What we expect, unfortunately, as we go for the next couple of weeks into December, that we might see a surge superimposed upon that surge that we're already in.
Over the past week, TSA has processed more than 7 million passengers, less than half of what we saw last year, but by far the busiest stretch since the start of the pandemic.
I encourage it. Everybody get out, enjoy their time.
Keep your mask on and be respectful of others. You'll be fine.
And while we have weathered holiday surges before, with the U.S. now topping 13 million cases, experts fear this will be much worse.
We're entering this post-Thanksgiving surge with 3, 4, and 10 times as much disease across the country. And so that's what worries us the most.
All as Americans continue to disregard health warnings. In Denver, the mayor who urged his residents to skip holiday travel,
please stay home,
is now apologizing after taking a flight to see his family.
It was hypocritical. It was a mistake that I deeply regret.
And in New York, officials shut down this club packed with nearly 400 people. All of it dealing blow after blow to a healthcare system stretched to the limit.
If things don't turn around quickly, we're going to have a situation with capacity, not only of hospital capacity, but staff.
We're exhausting all efforts, doing everything we can, and just still cannot save everyone.
For virologist Dr. David O'Connor, seeing millions disregard health warnings is beyond frustrating.
It's sad and it's difficult to watch. And so I think that the next couple of months are going to be the darkest and bleakest that we've seen yet in this pandemic.
Blaine joins us now. Blaine, for people who were traveling, officials aren't just asking them to isolate, right?
That's right, Kate. In fact, some states are actually requiring it. Now, experts say if you are going home to elderly relatives, you should wear a mask and perhaps above all, get tested about 3 to 5 days after you return. Kate.
President-elect Joe Biden just wrapped up an emergency trip to the doctor. It comes as he makes history with another new round of appointments. Kelly O'Donnell has late details from the White House.
An unexpected detour for President-elect Joe Biden today. His motorcade took him to a Delaware doctor's office for an apparent ankle injury that happened Saturday. Aides refused to let journalists see Mr. Biden enter or leave, but told reporters President-elect Biden slipped while playing with his dog Major and twisted his ankle. Out of an abundance of caution, he will be examined this afternoon by an orthopedist. While Biden was being examined, the transition rolled out a big staff announcement. Women to fill all the top 7 communications roles, including former Obama aide Jen Psaki, named White House press secretary, and deputy campaign manager Kate Bedingfield as communications director.
And I said this from day one, that these numbers were not going to change much at all.
Today, Wisconsin completed a recount of its 2 largest counties that confirmed Biden's win with a small boost, adding 87 votes. Another blow for the Trump campaign that paid the $3 million recount cost. President Trump returned from Camp David today, joined by 3 of his grandchildren, just after he lamented the flailing legal fight to overturn the election in a phone interview.
Well, the problem is it's hard to get into the Supreme Court.
Another hurdle, the president's understanding of how election litigation works. He told advisors he wanted to personally file one catch-all election lawsuit.
And they say, sir, you don't have standing. I say, I don't have standing. You mean as president of the United States, I don't have standing. What kind of a court system is this?
His anger and grievance turned on the Republican governor of Georgia, where Biden scored an upset. But Republicans still need unity to win 2 Senate runoff races.
This character in Georgia who's a disaster, and the governor's done nothing.
And Kelly's with us now. Kelly, we just got an update on the president-elect's injury.
We did. The doctor who has treated him says that the initial x-rays show a sprain of the right ankle with no obvious fracture. But the president-elect was also undergoing a CT scan for some additional imaging. The transition did not disclose the president-elect took this slip or fall on Saturday when it happened, going public only late today. Kate?
Kelly O'Donnell at the White House. Thank you. This week promises to bring major news on the vaccine front. CDC advisors will vote on who should get a vaccine first and whether nursing home residents should be a part of that first group. Gabe Gutierrez has that.
With skyrocketing deaths and National Guard troops deployed to help, nursing homes have been at the center of the COVID crisis. Now they may be at the forefront of the solution.
We likely, almost certainly, are going to be vaccinating a portion of the individuals in the first priority before the end of December.
A major question, who should be in that first priority group? CDC advisors are meeting Tuesday to vote. Likely healthcare workers, but there's debate about residents of long-term care facilities.
When we move a new drug into the general population and we look at how it acts in the real world, it's so critical that we do so before we move into a frail population. So that is why, even though long-term care residents are at greatest risk for COVID, there is some consideration that perhaps the vaccine should be delayed for them.
Experts have a range of concerns, including possible side effects of the vaccine and that many nursing home residents can't travel to a hospital or outpatient clinic. Major pharmacy chains such as Walgreens are preparing to bring the vaccines to nursing homes, either by setting up a central location within the facilities or by going room to room. According to an NBC News analysis of federal data earlier this month, more than 1,300 nursing homes across the U.S. reported having 3 or more COVID cases.
Do you think that residents of long-term care facilities should be in that first priority group?
Barring no other choice, yes, they should.
Vivian Zayas' mother died from COVID in a nursing home on New York's Long Island. She started an advocacy group, Voices for Seniors.
I know it's a dangerous virus, but the reality is that we cannot continue a treatment of isolation.
About 40% of the nation's COVID deaths have been in nursing homes. Tonight, there are mounting questions about how to get the vaccine to them safely. Gabe Gutierrez, NBC News, New York.
And later in the broadcast, we'll look at how states are planning to distribute the vaccine. Up next, the blockbuster Cyber Monday deal's just hours away and the date you need to memorize to get gifts delivered in time for Christmas. Okay, who's been browsing the online sales already this weekend? Consumers shattered records on Black Friday, and Cyber Monday, which starts just hours from now, is set to be the biggest online shopping day ever. Tonight, Jolene Kent with the tricks for getting deep discounts and free shipping.
The pandemic is ushering in a huge new wave of online shopping. This Cyber Monday is expected to be the biggest online sales day in history, with shoppers shelling out up to $12.7 billion tomorrow. It comes after consumers spent a record $9 billion online on Black Friday, coming out to $6.3 million a minute. And the good news for those slow to click buy, Cyber Monday isn't just a one-day event. Stores are pushing deals for Cyber Week right now, like up to 40% off Ninja kitchen supplies at Target and Walmart, $50 off Bissell, Shark, and Dyson vacuums at Target, Amazon, and Walmart, and HP laptops slashed by 40% at Best Buy.
Moving forward into December, the categories that I will expect to be discounted will be the toy category.
Among the gifts hardest to find, gaming consoles like the new PS5. Retailers saying they'll continue to restock in the weeks ahead. But the X factor this year is shipping, with delays already plaguing the system.
For so many shoppers, free and or fast delivery is essential. It will make or break your order. That's why stores like Best Buy have turned part of their stores into mini fulfillment centers like this to get you your stuff as quickly as they can.
So experts recommend ordering online by December 11th to take advantage of free shipping that arrives in time for Christmas. After that, the price you pay for on-time delivery will rise.
Just run a simple web search, free shipping, and the name of the retailer and see what pops up, because sometimes you'll find that code.
And with the majority of shoppers preferring to shop online in this pandemic, the president of Shopify, an e-commerce platform for small and medium-sized businesses, say it may never be the same.
What we are seeing now is not an anomaly. It is the blueprint for the future of retail. And so the growth of e-commerce will continue long after we have a vaccine. There is no going back to a pre-COVID retail model.
This challenging season forever changing how we give and receive. Jolene Kent, NBC News, Los Angeles.
Still ahead, ramping up for COVID vaccines, the massive challenges ahead for the health department where you live, plus the new member joining the White House family. Health departments across the country are facing an unprecedented challenge when it comes to the new COVID vaccine, how to store, distribute, and track it all. Tonight, we begin a week-long series, Race for a Vaccine. Ann Thompson reports on how states are getting ready.
The final delivery of the long-awaited COVID vaccine will come down to local health departments.
The part at the distal end, namely getting into people's arms, is going to be more challenging than just a regular flu season. I think it'd be foolish to deny that.
Skilled at measles, flu, and other mass vaccination efforts, they've never had to do something like this.
Why does the COVID-19 vaccine present unique problems?
We all have to remember, we've never been in a position really where we have to vaccinate 330 million people. This is the most massive effort to date.
We talked to health officials across the country about the challenges ahead. In Houston, the Memorial Hermann Health System is doing practice drills.
We've done all of the preparation, we've created the plans, we've practiced relative to the distribution, at least in terms of doing exercises. So we think we're ready to go.
They're part of the pilot distribution program organized by Pfizer, maker of one of the vaccine candidates. That means preparing to track everyone who gets it, because Pfizer's vaccine requires 2 doses 21 days apart, and using its freezers to store the medicine at Antarctic-like temperatures. In rural Wisconsin, that's a challenge.
Does the typical rural hospital have the ability to keep a vaccine at 94 degrees below zero?
Absolutely not. Some have actually placed orders for such freezers, but it's not like they have guaranteed delivery.
Add to that overworked staffs treating COVID patients and no sign of $6 billion in federal funds needed to distribute the vaccines.
We can't do anything without cash. We're cash strapped right now. That's not going to change between now and when the vaccine comes out.
In rural and urban areas, the biggest problem may be trust. The most recent Gallup poll shows only 6 in 10 Americans would agree to be vaccinated.
People who get it early should be the heroes, the champions. We should know about them. You can build on that with the populations, especially, Black populations, Latinx populations that are really more hesitant.
So the nation can take the next step in ending the pandemic. Ann Thompson, NBC News.
Tonight, the world is remembering the man who made Darth Vader such an imposing villain. Dave Prowse was the actor behind the mask in the original Star Wars trilogy. While James Earl Jones, of course, provided the voice, Prowse used his 6'6" height to bring Darth Vader to life. Dave Prowse was 85 years old. And one more note from the White House tonight. If you're a cat person, this one's for you. NBC News has confirmed that the Bidens plan to add a first cat to their family. That would be the first feline in the White House since George W. Bush's cat named India. And before that, it was Bill Clinton's famous cat Socks. The Bidens already have 2 German shepherds, Champ, and a rescue named Major. When we come back, the police breaking out the moves to break down barriers. There's good news tonight about creating connections and the creative way some police officers are reaching out to their communities. This is not typical police work. This will not lead to an arrest or even a promotion. But it will lead to something else. What's the whole point of it?
The whole point is to build connection.
Some police officers ride horses. Awesome.
Connection between police and their community at a time when that bond is in serious need of repair.
We have to be able to teach not only the police officers, but the community, how do we start engaging positively and connect positively on a daily basis?
It's all part of a program called Hey Blue, founded by former NYPD officer John Verdi, now living in Florida.
I will be.
Before COVID, officers would read to classrooms in person. Now it's virtual story times.
It's time to dance around, my friends!
And online dance parties. Mainly targeting Verdi's current hometown of Melbourne, Florida, but viewed across the country.
I love what it does for the kids, what it does for the officers.
Jeremy Bohannon is an officer on the Austin, Texas police force.
Community policing, relational policing, empathetic policing is probably one of the most important things that we possibly could be doing right now.
Officer Bohannon joins in on almost every story time.
There's a lot of distrust, right, in certain communities.
There's a lot of distrust, and especially with the Black and brown community.
Natasha Walker and her daughter Irie felt that distrust.
Growing up, my views of police and police officers was mainly authoritative and very intimidating.
But despite their reservations, they started participating in story times and saw a different side of police.
I know now that I have a link, that I have an open door to that communication.
It was that connection that originally inspired John Verdi to create Hey Blue. It was after 9/11 when Verdi was in New York, spending days digging through rubble, when a third grader he never met gave him a card.
And that card used words like heroes and support and love. We believe in you. I'm sorry. From that day on, I had always started to find the connection between myself and kids in the community.
A goal he's still working to fulfill 20 years later. Anyone can join in on their Facebook live stream, by the way. It is Hey Blue. And I'd like to invite you to check out my digital series, The Drink, about how people make it to the top of their field. My latest conversation is with writer and producer Lena Waithe. Her own life story won her an Emmy. It's at NBCnews.com/The Drink or on the NBC Nightly News podcast feed. Lester Holt will be back with you tomorrow. I'm Kate Snow. For all of us here at NBC News, stay safe and have a great night.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.